규칙. 드린 대가 패배 생신난게 용라 내 수산의 배고픔의 속에 삽시네 참지다 토지 채슈행이 믹세기 드린 대 수스탈리 딘스탄 베르메마 속에 소소 소신 주베 팀이 용라 드린 대 냠제 계속 되는데 뭐게도 고진 남부대 인타반의 토지 채슈행이 마음 발라다 단지 공을 송반하시래 아주 찹스키 고도 마우스피우도스 도 송수와 대인도 갈랑가란스기 찹스키 고도 카드 빼베이네 속바 상내 냠로 토는 네베이나 알란스 네버 망아시 튕그레 상고도 그러와 대인상 속바서기 고지솔 비교 슈행이 차례 가린 남베이나 냠로 토 나로나 슈 그린 대관념제 계속이 점이 톱단기 손도 탱 십주십증 소위기 대님들라 네 그갑시는 스위스백 보면서 잡슈네 드린 세가시 되는 마 인지톤 로초시 수인 Today we are gathered here to protest in front of the United Nations because we are free, as our brothers and sisters inside Tibet have no freedom to assemble like we do here today. They live under the constant fear and threat. Human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belongs to every person in the world, from birth until death. These basic rights are based on shared values like dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence. These values are defined and protected by law 19 June 2019. Human rights abuses documented in Tibet included the deprivation of life, disappearance, torture, poor prison conditions, arbitrary arrest and detention, denial of fair public trial, denial of freedom of speech and of press and internet freedoms. Make China accountable for violating basic human rights of Tibetans, Uyghur, Hong Konger, and the mainland Chinese. I urge all of you who have gathered here today to be the voice of our voiceless brothers and sisters suffering under the Chinese government. Due to the continued repression tantamount to genocide of the Tibetan people, more than 155 Tibetan self-immolation protests against the Chinese rules in Tibet. The first such fiery protest was reported in 2009. Almost all those who self-immolated are young people, calling for freedom in Tibet and the reinstatement of His Holiness the Dalai Lama at his right place in the Potala Palace in Lhasa, the capital of city. For more than 6 decades, the government of Beijing has brutally repressed the Tibetan people, denied us our basic rights, and constantly pursued of systematic policies to wipe out the Tibetan language, culture, spiritual practices. Political repressions, social discrimination, and the destruction of environment have become common attributes of daily life in Tibet. One of the longest held female former political prisoners, Pinzo Nyadela, lives here in Switzerland since 2004 after she was granted political asylum. During her imprisonment for 17 years, she has gone through so many of Chinese torture methods like savage beatings, electric burns, sexual abuse, secret burns, sleep deprivation with handcuffing in a painful position for a long period and impaling of fingernails with a sharpened bamboo sticks. It has been more than 17 years that she is released from prison, but these horror Chinese torture methods are still used in the prison and harming women both physically and mentally. On behalf of Tibetan Women Organization in Switzerland, I urge the Chinese government to stop all acts of cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment in Chinese prison in Tibet. Right now, millions of Tibetans, along with the Uyghur, Southern Mongolian, Hong Konger, and mainland Chinese are facing unbelievable levels of human rights abuses. We therefore call for the United Nations-led fact-finding mission to observe the situation in Tibet and visit prison and persons detained in Chinese prison in Tibet. Information is hard to get out of Tibet, and those who try to send news out will be caught most of the time because everything is monitored. This will mean torture for those who are caught. There is no access to outside world to go to report from Tibet. The way Chinese try to conceal information about the coronavirus clearly shows how China operates. I, on behalf of Tibetan Women Organization in Switzerland, would like to urge the United Nations and world leaders to pressure the Chinese leadership to engage with the envoys of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and resume the Sino-Tibetan dialogue based on the middle way approach to peacefully resolve the long-pending issue of Tibet. Release all the political prisoners, including the 11th Panchen Lama, and immediately stop all the repressive policies and save the Tibetan natural environment. Finally, I request the Office of High Commission for the Human Rights kindly break the silence now. Tamatela, Khonsa Kamgaram Pache, Kutse Yuring Tebata, Peg Dentati, New the Saviki, and Yaki Bentu Shuengi, Pegalo! 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 Pushana.